Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking your time this Wednesday morning to join our webinar for the One Hub. From 3 days to 3 hours, how we are going to show you how you can accelerate the financial approval process inside your company itself without an email chase, how you can automate the entire payment flow from your ERP system to the banking network with just one click. So my name is Semin Balasurya. I will be hosting the webinar for you today, and we'll start the session right now. So today's agenda, we'll be covering the approval bottleneck, how and why the payments are really getting stuck inside your entity itself, the reasons why the payments are not being approved on time, and then again how we can automate that and streamline this process is what we are going to discuss. And then I'll be introducing you to OneHub, Zillion's own IP software product that we have built to streamline the payments from directly from your ERP to the bank. Then the approval matrix module inside OneHub, where you can set where you can set authorizers according to the payment limits, and how you can send the approvals that you need via an email itself and can get approved. And I will be doing a live demonstration on this as well, how OneHub works, and then the floor will be open for any questions, which I'm happy to answer. So before I go ahead and start introducing what OneHub is, let's just dive into what the problem right now is that everyone's facing. So it's not the payment that is getting initiated, which is slow, but sometimes it's mostly the approval that needs to be that needs to come from the authorizers itself. So we identified that the bank can anyways move money in seconds soon as the payment has been processed from the ERP system. But then again, the authorizations that work inside entities could still be buried in those emails, buried in those WhatsApp messages, or could be a printed note saying approve this payment right away, which hasn't been completed or in due time. So which actually takes 3 to 5 days could be taken to get a payment approved, and 2+ hours for workflowing, having to have these things necessary for being built, and which we believe can be avoided at least up to 60%. So as an answer, we have come across the platform called OneHub, which is a business application integrated with the banking, and a a middleware software where we can integrate the ERP systems with the banks itself. So you just imagine from the ERP system, when you are posting your payments, it could be a payroll payment or a payment for a supplier or any other payment, which could be which could be falling under SEFT slips or RTGS. That payment leaves your ERP system and directly goes to the bank right away. You don't have to log into multiple banking applications to approve these payments or anything like that. You can just directly send it from the ERP, send it through the OneHub system, and then the payment will be processed to the bank itself. So we have payout, which means from the ERP to the bank, you can initiate the payments inside the ERP and send it to the bank. And OneHub is connected through APIs, so the payments will be in real time. And as well as you can pull back from the bank to your ERP. So any settled transactions so far, any balances, any status of your transactions, if the payment has been successfully created or not, can be pulled back to your ERP system directly from the bank. And what we are focusing today mainly is this approve and control uh, part or the segment of OneHub, where you can have the right people approve the transaction at the time that you necessarily at the time that is required. So that approve and control segment is what we are mainly focusing on today's webinar. So to give an overview of OneHub, imagine OneHub being a middleware application which is connected with your ERP system. It could be your ERP, it could be your HRM system, any business application that you necessarily will be using to initiate transactions will be connected through OneHub to your bank. So like I said, from the ERP to the bank, you can initiate payments, originate the payments inside your ERP, and then post to the bank via the APIs. Or from the bank to the ERP system, you can pull back any transaction status, history, and balances, and just necessarily view it inside the ERP. So to give you an overview of the payments, we do payroll runs. We support payroll runs, supply batches, safe slips, and RTGS payments. And this necessarily means that you don't have to leave your ERP system and go again and re-log into your banking platform or anything like that. Just stay inside the ERP, post the payment, log into OneHub to see how the payments have been processed, if the payments have been processed or not, and also get an overview of the payments that are waiting for your approval. So the most advanced advantage of using OneHub would be the multiple banks that you can connect to one system, which means from your ERP, when you post the payment, it could be to one bank, it could be to 3 banks that you have to connect. It doesn't matter, as long as the banks have the necessary technology via APIs we can connect. You can have multiple banks set up inside OneHub. So one workflow can access every bank that you are having using right now to process payments, and all these transactions are happening in real time. Uh, these payments could be individual payments. Payments could be batch payments. It doesn't matter. We can process any payments as we wish, and then also documents as well. So any invoice and tax files that the bank requires for you to submit, it could be directly submitted to your banking application via OneHub if the bank is having that adequate APIs where we can send those documents to. So the entire reasoning behind how OneHub is streamlining your entire financial process would be by stopping you from logging into these multiple banking portals. So imagine just one system where every bank account for each and every bank that you are using is connected, and you can see the transaction status of your transactions that has been posted, and the history and the account balances, or any required data that you would want to necessarily see in your banking portal inside one portal itself. But this time it's all the banks that you are using. So following up from the transaction retrieval part, today's most today we want to highlight the fact how we can streamline the approval part through OneHub. So the approval bottleneck, which is technically delaying all the payments, is something that we have focused on mainly building OneHub around. So previously, like I said, a payment file could be printed and sent to approval. An email could be waiting for someone's signature for a really long time. It could be over calls, could be over WhatsApp messages or anything like that. There's number of hours or more than number of hours. It could be days that you guys could be losing to process the payments. So right now, how we have streamlined this is, whenever you post a payment from your ERP system, that payment would be directly sent to the authorizer via OneHub as an email address to your email address, and from that email itself you can just approve the payment and process and send it to the bank to process. So this is something which is very unique, which you can use as a pre-op approval as well, and have your own post-op approval from the banking network as well. This necessarily doesn't mean that this approval matrix is replacing the bank's approval matrix that you could be having, but this could be an additional approval matrix that you can simply use before the payment is sent to the bank. So how the approval matrix works is, we have different signatories that we can register under OneHub, and in case if a signatory is missing, you can assign a delegate to cover up that signatory's approval. So these payments are sent via email for approval. No portal is required to log in or any other things. You just have to have your phone or your laptop. You will get an email saying this payment is pending for your approval. You can just simply approve it or reject it. And signatories are being assigned by the amount. So imagine now there are multiple signatories that you require according to your business needs, and these signatories could be assigned based on the transaction limit. So from 10,000 rupees to 100,000, if you require one signatory approval, then assign that authorizer as the rule. Or else if it's from 100,000 to 200,000 and it requires multiple signatories, you could just assign those multiple signatories under that rule itself. So likewise, signatories by amount can be configured inside OneHub itself. And as I said, you can assign delegates in case if a signatory uh, is actually not available right now. You can just assign a delegate to approve those payments as well. So that is how basically approval matrix is built upon. And moving forward, so to give an overview of how OneHub and where we are right now connected with, we support the ERP systems, which are Sage 300, Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, as well as SAP B1, covering SAP S4 HANA as well. And right now, currently, we are working with HSBC, Standard Chartered, Commercial, Ceylon, DFCC, NTB, HNB, and Sampath Bank as well. So all these banks, we have worked together, and we have OneHub has been built upon all this bank support as well. So if your bank is included in here or not, we can actually reach out to the bank and we can see how we can integrate your business application and then connect it with your bank as well. So this is an overview of OneHub, how OneHub process payments directly taken from your ERP to the bank, and also how you can get all the data from the bank inside from to the ERP back, as well as mainly on how the approval matrix can be configured and how you can process those payments to be sent directly to the authorizers via an email and just approve it and then and there. So I will be doing a demonstration now on OneHub, and we can see how the approval matrix has been configured and how you can just simply approve any payments through an email. So if you can see my screen, I have now logged into OneHub, and under OneHub, we have three main modules called Fund Transfer, Vendor Master, and the Approval Matrix. So under transfers, now all these payments have been directly sent from your ERP system. So what you have to do is you have to simply select a transaction that needs to be sent for an approver and hit proceed. And then select the authorizer that has to approve this payment. So for an example, now I have set up three authorizers that I need to send this transaction for approval. I will simply select Rooney, and when I hit send, when I log in to login as Ruani's and Ruani's email address, now I can see a transaction has been sent for the approval of Ruani. So a simple email address stating that this transaction requires their approval, and the transaction summary with the payment reference and the recipient bank, and also the date and the timestamp. So all of this data will be sent to the authorizer, where the authorizer can just simply click the review and approve transaction button, where another page would be popped up with much more details in related to that transaction. So including the client's bank name, account number, recipient bank name, account number, and then the transfer type, amount, etc. So as an authorizer, you can just simply click approve transaction, and a verification code, an OTP will be followed up soon as you hit approve. So this OTP is an additional security layer that we have configured. So when you click send OTP, an OTP would be sent now to your email address. So you just have to use this OTP, verify it, and process the payment. So likewise, soon as you hit approve, under status in OneHub, you can see the transaction that has been processed. So the amount and everything else would be stated in here, as well as who has authorized this transaction to can be seen inside OneHub itself. So this is how simple a transaction can be sent for an authorizer to be approved via an email address, via your email, and then you just approve the payment through the email itself, and now the payment will be processed from the bank inside. So for the question of how you set up this approval matrix, is there's a module in OneHub itself where we have created for you to add necessary approval rules for the according to your business need. So what you have to do is just have to click approval rule and enter the values that you need to set up for an authorizer. So for an example, if it's between 151,000 to the 200,000, then you can set who has to authorize this payment and just create a rule. So this rule will be now created, but then again, for this rule to be approved, so even the rules has to be approved by someone like by a main authorizer. It will be in the status of pending. Just like that, you can create multiple approval rules inside OneHub, and whenever you process a payment between this 0 to 9,999, it would be sent directly to Jack, and likewise between 10,000 to 100,000, it will be sent for both Ronnie and Jack, and from 100,000 150,000 Jack. So likewise, it will be sent to the assigned authorizer via an email right after you process the payment from your ERP system. So basically, that is how we have configured approval matrix from OneHub, and how you can simply assign payments from your email itself and then process to your bank. I will be opening the flow for any questions you could be having regarding, and I'll be happy to answer as well. You can just unmute and ask any questions if you have.
Hi, Tarju here from TPL. I have a small question about the approval process. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi Tandu, yeah.
Just to know whether if we are sending the approval to senior managers, whether they can see any supporting documents when they approve the approve the payments.
Yes, so if you are, yeah, I hope I'm audible to you, Tardu.
Yes.
Yeah, so in case if you are sending any additional documents to be submitted, you will have to come to the OneHub and upload those documents, where we can send those documents right to the person or the senior management for their view. So the transaction anyways will have to be posted from the ERP, and it will be directly sent to the authorizer. Any supporting documents, we can attach it in OneHub and then send to the authorizer.
Okay, if we are attaching the supporting documents to the ERP, is there any possibility to take from ERP system when the approvals are sending through the OneHub?
Yes, that is also possible. So there are two ways. You can send it directly from your ERP, or else you can just attach those documents inside OneUp itself.
Okay, thank you.
Um, if there's yes,
Again, Thardu here.
yes.
We have another question. Like in our environment, we have a check-in process before the approvals are sent into the management. Is there any possibility to integrate that into the one hub where users can check before sending to the approval, or is there any way we can map that process?
So before approval, you need to have another section where you can check if these payments are correct or not. Is that
Yes, correct.
right? Taridu, can I know the ERP system that you're using? So there's a high chance
We
that
are
inside,
using SAP B1 9.3 version.
right? So in most of the cases inside the ERP system, there is an approval process as well before, like which you can configure inside the ERP before you post the payment. You have to send it inside the ERP to someone to authorize that before the payment is now sent, like as in the payment is created inside the ERP itself. So in top of that, if you want, we can do a configuration inside OneHub where you have to have that approval too before it's been sent to the management. That is also something that we can look into. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So the webinar will be continued for 2 more minutes. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer. All right. So we'll be wrapping up the webinar then. Thank you for everyone for joining and taking some time in your morning to come and learn about OneHub and how we can accelerate the approvals through the email itself. Um, we'll be sending a recording of this webinar to you as well. And if you are happy to see a demonstration one-on-one, we are happy to arrange that as well. So once again, thank you for joining. Have a great day.
Thank you.